Real quick, just a reminder to check out my movie channel. The link is in the description. I have videos on there about the new Alex Garland movie, Civil War. I have a Dune 2 review. I have, some tier list of guys like Christopher Nolan and David Fincher, and Alex Garland tier list is coming up. So be on the lookout for all that. Again, link is in the description, but back to your regularly scheduled video. All right, let's talk about new Philadelphia Eagle linebacker Devin White, who, I made a video right out the bat kind of saying, hey, I don't hate it for the price tag, but I'm surprised the Eagles are doing this. I feel like, kind of expecting him to be a day one starter at this point is a big risk to take. And Eagles fans, the comments section was acting like I was the biggest idiot you've ever seen. There were comments laughing at the idea that I suggested that Patrick Queen is a better linebacker than Devin White, which seems kind of crazy to me. People were essentially saying, no, Devin White's a great player. What are you talking about? So, okay, well, this is what I'm talking about. Let's make a film study. And, again, I like to challenge my own ideas. I don't think I'm a genius. I think that I can be wrong. So, am I wrong about Devin White? What does he do well? Because there are things he does well. What will he do well for the Eagles? And what should the Eagles be concerned about? Real quick, let's look at Pro Football Focus grades, which, again, some people are just going to be turned off by this altogether and say, PFF grades, they're stupid. Okay, fine, you can say that. We'll get into film in a second. But if you're like someone like me who thinks they're a useful tool, albeit not gospel, you see his grades are rough. I mean, you look at over the years, the best grade was his rookie season where he finished just above 50 and, has not finished above 50 since then, including a season that he had 1,200 snaps and still finished in the mid-30s, which is a tough grade. The pass rush grade has always been pretty good, and I think that's kind of the main thing about Devin White is that his highlights are great. Going over to the film, definitely the pass rush is the thing that jumps out at you when you watch his film. Very good pass rushing linebacker. You see him, that's where he is on his play. He is going to rush the passer and watch. As you see, he is going to be able to shoot through that gap pretty quickly. He, makes contact with Lawrence. I believe it was actually a different player who caused the fumble, but still, well done. I mean, he has that explosive speed and picks his gaps very well. So for the Eagles, if they want to blitz, he's someone who can do that for them. He also has the athleticism like on this play where if a ball is in the area, he can leap over and make a splash play, and also other things like this where in the running game, you're going to see that, it's going to be designed to run. I think it's supposed to go more over the middle, but Devin White is, you see where he is. He's the one who I've circled in black. When this play begins, that kind of over the middle is a bit clogged up. White is more on the edge, and that's where the halfback is going to decide to run. But again, White has the speed to go over there, and he makes that highlight reel level play. So at this point, if you're an Eagles fan, you're excited. You're saying, this is awesome. Look at what these plays make. But let's keep in mind, Devin White is someone who was benched last year, and there's a reason why he's signing a one-year, $4 million deal with $3 million in incentives. It's because the reality is he is not a great player when you watch every single play he makes. He's someone who will fill up the highlight reels, but he will also fill up the low right reels. Like, let's just take something simple, something like this, where it's going to be a running play to the offense's right. You see where he is on the field. Okay, simple enough, very basic play. Well, when it begins, you're going to notice that, once we get to this spot, there's a offensive lineman who's going to get into his area, which, okay, a bit of a mismatch, a linebacker on an offensive lineman. You would like to see him be able to win some of these or maybe get around some of these situations, but still, it's a bit of a mismatch. It's a bit of a tough situation for Devin White. There's no denying that. But you see, he gets completely blocked out of the way. And the reality is, this is what you usually see when you watch his tape, is him losing, is him not winning these one-on-one matchups. That's why you have the low Pro Football Focus grades, which I've always kind of compared to a batting average. That kind of stat is usually how consistently are you winning. But I think for Tampa Bay, usually they kind of were okay with the, low batting average when they were getting the home runs as well. In the playoff run, he was still getting blocked out of the way. He was still blowing coverages, but he was also getting interceptions and getting forced fumbles and getting sacks. So they were kind of okay with it. But the past couple years, those splash plays have, for the large part, gone away, which is why now you're just a low batting average guy who isn't even hitting home runs. Like, we can talk about coverage for a second. This isn't even maybe necessarily the best example of a coverage mistake, but it's still a coverage mistake where, again, kind of a tough situation. Todd Bowles loves to get creative, going to have a defensive back blitz off the edge. You have that receiver right there that now is going to be open. So, okay, well, what do you do? Who's going to be the guy who's covering it? Well, Devin White's going to be the guy. And again, on paper, tough situation. No denying that. However, when it begins, you see that White goes over, but he kind of overcommits a little bit. And this has been a big issue with White throughout his career in Tampa Bay, is he is so explosive, but a lot of times he is someone who will overrun certain plays. When that Carolina player cuts over the middle, he would have been wide open right there. And, again, that's Adam Thielen. I get it. I'm not saying if this was the only low light you saw, then fine. But the reality is, usually when he was in coverage like this is what was happening. A lot of Eagles fans said, hey, whatever Devin White is, he can't possibly be worse than what we had out there. Well, maybe, but he might not be a lot better than you think either. A play like this is another one where what's going to happen is it's going to be a run to the left, and you're going to see it's actually the center who's going to pull around and block White. But again, it's the overcommitment that you're going to see a little bit. Watch how when this play begins, you see White maybe overcommits a little bit. Again, not terrible. Offensive line gets there quickly. It is what it is, but still, you're not in a great situation to make this play. And again, watch him really kind of get blocked pretty far out of the area. This is just what you see. When you watch the film, this is what you see. So he's consistently getting blocked out of the way, and he's consistently not being able to make coverage plays. And it's kind of why film studies can be a little weird sometimes. Because, I could easily make a film study making it look like Devin White is an elite player. But at the end of the day, it's more about consistency that you want to see out of a linebacker position. And if you make one great run stop, but then get blocked out of the way on your next 10 plays, you're not a great player. But if you're just watching the game with a beer and not really paying attention, you're going to be like, wow, Devin White's great. I've noticed him on 4 great plays in this game, because you don't really notice the negatives as much. Okay, so where do we go from here? What's to make of Devin White? Again, I think he is someone who, if you don't pay close enough attention, you think he is a lot better than he actually is. I think that's a very reasonable thing to say. But for the Eagles, again, it's a relatively cheap deal here, and you could say maybe he finally puts it all together. I would, he had a very good postseason run in Tampa Bay. I would still, kind of warn people that, he still did have his bad moments in that postseason run. In those 3 games he played, because he missed the first one, he wasn't great in that Green Bay game. He gave up a lot of, blown coverages there as well, but he had the splash plays throughout the postseason run that made it really, made him really impactful. And he was legitimately, great as a whole in that postseason run, and that's what you're hoping to see. The question is just, are you ever going to get back there? And I wouldn't bank on it. So I think it's a fine move if you're sitting here saying, well, this is just a complete flyer, let's see what happens. Then cool. I would be a little concerned if the Eagles are like, he's going to be our starter next year. We've got a linebacker now. We're good. I don't know if I would feel great about that. But again, there is the potential that he puts it all together. There's no denying that, because we have seen the flashes. So I don't want to sit here and kind of say, oh, terrible move, it won't work out, because no, it could work out for sure. And I'm not even going to sit here and say I disagree with the move. I would just say I would want a plan B if you're Philadelphia. Because again, Devin White was someone who the Tampa Bay Buccaneers said, you know what, we don't want him on the field during the playoffs. They went with KJ Britt, who isn't exactly a superstar, right? He was a solid player, but it's not like he was just killing it, and that's why they went with KJ Britt, right? So that would be my concern if for the Eagles. But I do think there is a lot to like about the potential here, and I'm interested in seeing what happens. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.